Hey guys, Rocksdoom here, and I got some more actual YouTube content for you. In today's video, we're going to be discussing the changes that were made to the Dead Cells speedrun that pushed the run not only to 5 minutes, but even further beyond into 4 minutes. Let's talk about Dead Cells speedrunning. We have quite a few talking points to cover and even more discussion of how each thing evolved, so we need to tackle that first. The three major topics we will be covering are Unlinked lightspeed, boss skips, and what has come to be known as hyperspeeds, which share similar functionalities as a super swim in The Wind Waker or a BLJ in Super Mario 64. First, let's discuss unlinked lightspeeds. By using a setup at the start of our runs, we are able to get our lightspeed dashes to essentially unlink from each other, which is where the name is derived. This trick happens in gameplay occasionally on its own, but a mostly consistent setup was theory crafted by two runners, Lookie13 and Mad Insane. At the beginning and throughout the video, you can see that my lightspeed, once used, will stay blue indefinitely, and after its reverse effect wears off, it can be used in a forward motion instead of moving you back to the point of origin. This allows for the use of a back dash into a front dash that can be used in the same direction if desired, independent of each other. This is done by letting the first dash cool down while holding the backwards dash. This allows us another form of fast movement in the game and helps us to perform boss skips, as well as hypers, which will both be expanded upon in this video. These new techniques made lightspeed viable as it was previously inefficient otherwise. Next for discussion is boss skips. It was made possible for us to skip every boss in the game in a run via precise inputs, dashes, and camera manipulation. This was first shown on Twitter and Reddit, showcasing a Hand of the King boss skip we use in the run, as well as conjunctivious boss skip. Links will be in the description below. These skips allowed us to opt out of a more volatile towers and castle to a more consistent sepulcher route via 2 boss cell, which allowed us to access the giant and then instantly to the Hand of the King. Fighting bosses was no longer necessary, and thus scrolls also became unnecessary. I'll do my best to showcase each little improvement we made to each boss skip and how they were optimized during this video, after discussing these main points of interest. Originally, they started with getting on the left wall of a boss room and dashing across, but were evolved to include the use of hypers, which is even faster. Hyperspeed is the final trick, which can be referred to as hypers, and is the most difficult of the tricks, involving a series of inputs within a 2-frame window, allowing us to get a rapidly increasing and multiplying speed boost in a backwards direction. This started out by requiring phaser, which was largely useless to the speedrun and was originally developed by Lookie13. With quick enough inputs, hypers evolved to be done with just a single unlinked lightspeed, and was referred to as phaserless, allowing us to choose any additional ability we wanted, which brought in the use of corrupted power as a velocity upkeep item. Hypers without phaser were developed and tested by Blargle and Lookie13. We can now showcase boss skips in their original forms. We used Syringe at first to get onto the left wall, as Syringe has a higher jump animation than normal jumps, which I had adapted into runs when we first picked up Syringe for fighting the bosses. Syringe allows for vine skip in Prom, as well as getting through the secret in Stilt without using the platforms, but will get us to the upper left wall where we can climb and input our dashes to pass the boss. Giant was a more precise skip, but is similar. Instead, we can jump straight to the inner wall, but it requires camera manipulation to keep from triggering the cutscene. Originally, people climbed to the top portion of the room for a safer skip. Napal was the one to discover this setup, and there is a bug that causes the game to crash when dismounting the right wall too quickly without proper camera manipulation. Finally, Hand of the King, which in all honesty is simply done the same as Concierge, with varying dash setups. These were adapted to use a meat skewer jump, which would reach the left wall instead. allowing us to drop syringe as it was largely useless now. This skewer setup was found and developed by Louis XIV. Yes, I have always called him Louis. This was pivotal as we could then replace syringe with a more useful item to help keep velocity up passively throughout the run in the form of corrupted power, or to allow us use of phaser when it was adapted shortly for hyperspeeds. Giant then became more streamlined with a more optimal setup that Blargle created and I adapted myself into runs, saving a few additional seconds over the original as there was no need to move to the upper portions of the room. However, this setup was easier to crash the game with as you didn't give yourself as much time for the camera to settle and you had to be patient before going to exit. These changes brought the estimate time from being just barely under the 6-minute mark to making a mid to low 5-minute run possible already, but something bigger was coming. Insert hyperspeeds. This trick is done by performing a few precise inputs within a 2-frame window, essentially dashing into the wall and instantly reversing that momentum. Cutting a promenade from a slow 1-minute split to a generous 20-second split, saving optimally 30 to 40 seconds in the best scenarios. Boss skips were found utilizing hyperspeeds, which saved even more time. Concierge, Giant, Hand of the King. All of these adaptations saving what had to be nearly an additional 15 to 20 seconds throughout the run. Finally, a 4-minute time seemed realistically achievable, and on February 5th, 2020, I did just that only a week and a half after getting the first 5-minute run. These changes all came out of nowhere and changed how the game was played entirely. For now, who knows what is in store for Dead Cells, but we sure have come a long way. I would like to say a big thanks to the entire community, everyone who was mentioned in this video, and any I may have missed. If you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more content. I frequently livestream over on Twitch several days a week, so be sure to find me over there as well as on Twitter in the description below. Thanks for watching.